All right, it is movie review time again, and it is Throwback Thursday. Now, this time we go all the way back 40 years to 1984, and we're going to be talking very briefly about Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Now, of course, this is subtitled The Final Chapter, but we know by now that that is not the case. And, of course, as most movie studios will do, they're going to milk something as long as they can, and of course Friday the 13th is a series that is proof of that. Now, this movie stars Crispin Glover, Corey Feldman, and a bunch of other people who I can't remember their name. It is, of course, picks up pretty much right after Friday the 13th Part 3, which was, of course, in 3D. And this this should have been where they ended this movie series, but as we said a moment ago, they didn't do that. I did not like this. It was boring. There seemed like stretches of the movie where nothing really happened at all. Of course, like a lot of movies, it didn't really pick up until the end of the movie, but to get to that point, it was just a long slog of almost nothingness. There seemed to be things that happened in this movie that had no real explanation. They would just happen out of the blue. No rhyme or reason why things were doing what they were doing. Most of these characters in this movie, I really didn't form any sort of emotional connection with. So if something happened to them, it really just didn't seem to matter because you didn't have that connection. So they were just someone there to, serve the purpose of the movie, which is the character of Jason, unaliving people in various ways, and that's just what they were there for. So it is not a good. In fact, it's one of the least scary movies I've ever seen. I mean, you could watch this with all the lights out, and I don't think get really scared at all. So it pretty much failed as a scary movie, as a horror movie, as just a general movie. This is a movie that shows you how not to make a movie and how not to make a scary / horror movie. So it is on HBO Max. That's where I watched this. So, as I've said multiple times before, at least I wasn't paying an additional price to watch this. But again, I don't recommend it. I'm only giving it 1 out of 5 stars.